Hello everyone, my name is Sanditya Larope Sutanto, and now I will present to you a topic about NGN policy challenges. So let's start with the question why. So why do we even need to learn about NGN policy challenges? So actually, when implementing a new innovation or technology, there are some regulations that need to be updated as well, which may bring some challenges in doing so. So about this regulation, why is regulation important? So as you can see here, there are providers which provide services to users, and if the users need to appeal, if they got like a bad quality of service, they can appeal to government, which can regulate or can provide rules to providers. So these providing rules, this is based off the regulation. So to ensure that the user receives proper service, regulation or policy is provided by the government. In a case of bad service, users who already paid the provider can appeal to the government based on the existing regulation. So the regulation provides conditions that the telecommunication provider must fulfill in order to give the service with good quality to the user. It is important to review the policy and regulation, especially when discussing new technologies such as NGN. In this topic, we will talk about the new challenges that come with when updating new regulations in response to new technology in telecommunication, which in this case is the NGN. Okay, so how is NGN regulation different from the legacy regulation? So in NGN era, almost all of the service available, such as voice or video broadcasting, they all use the same network. So it makes sense that all the network or the communications sector should be undertaken by a single regulatory body that is independent from the service regulatory body. So compared to the legacy, there are so many body that manage the regulation, but in NGN era there are only a single body. Okay, so the economic regulation. This economic regulation exists to settle the different economic concerns from the provider and the user, where the provider, in this case, needs high return, while the user wants low cost. So the scope of economic regulation actually includes competition. Competition is where there is a regulation of minimum cost in order to prevent bad competition or bad service. And the second one is facility-based competition. So what this refers to is the regulation to encourage providers to provide good service to the user. And then there are interconnection policies. So this is needed to ensure that all customers can contact all other subscribers and being interconnected with each other. And then there are network unbundling policy, which is made to ensure users to get exactly what they paid for. And then there are incentive for development. So companies get incentives such as tax incentives as a reward for developing internet broadband networks in order to boost growth in broadband subscribers. Okay, so another reason why we need regulation is to prevent NGN access division. So as you know, new technologies might not be accessible for everyone. For example, here, there is a case in France about the communication infrastructure and its accessibility. So the y-axis shows the bandwidth potential, while the x-axis shows the percentage of population with access to the technology. So as you can see here, in FTTH or the new technology, the fiber, only 40% of inhabitants can actually use it. So it is still minimum, and it is not fair, one can say. So in order to prevent this and provide fair communication access to everyone, a regulation must be made. So the way forward for fiberization is the way we can, is the solution to solve the previous problem, which is NGN access division. So the solution proposed, there are two solutions. First one is investment incentive. Here, the decision to invest in the development communication sector must be affected by the state of competition in the market and the regulatory framework. And then it is also good to provide access to rights of way ducts and poles. What this means is that the government must provide a good environment for investment by reducing friction that might hinder the development of communication technology. For example, the process of municipal authorization for new communication technologies should be simplified to ensure the ducts investment for minimum maintenance. Okay, now that we have know what regulation is and why we need the policy, we will talk about the challenges that actually comes when implementing a new policy for NGN. First one is regarding interconnection. So in interconnection, we actually need to switch the network from switch network to IP-based network, and then there are also concerns about interconnection scheme. So interconnection scheme is actually a way to calculate interconnection fee using long-run incremental cost models. And then there are problems regarding numbering, naming, and addressing. Here, we need to upgrade the key resource. So we need to convert the key resource for addressing from telephone number, which is the key resource in the legacy network, into domain and IP address, which are the key resource for internet networks for NGN. Okay, next, there are also problems or challenges to provide universal service obligation. So USO actually means that a company should provide services, a minimum set of services to all users and at an affordable price. So it is actually similar to CSR, but for telecommunication companies. Here are some list of examples of USO. So USO in USA, telecom companies must provide discount for internet access in schools and libraries. And then there are USO in Switzerland, which sets the maximum price of 50 euros at remote areas. In Indonesia itself, the USO is conducted by Bakti from Kominfo. Okay, so this is actually efficient spectrum management, not universal service obligation. So the challenges regarding the how can we efficiently manage the spectrum? So first, about the licensing the spectrum itself, from the government perspective, the challenge is to determine which spectrum is licensed and which is not licensed or unlicensed. And then there are also high consuming spectrum bandwidth applications. So in NGN, there are so many applications that require high spectrum bandwidth. So the challenge is to manage these services efficiently. And then the last one is flexible spectrum assignment. So this is actually needed to improve efficiency in spectrum markets as well as boost innovation. Okay, wrong slide. Okay, so challenges of NGN policy. So there are also other challenges such as emergency calling. So in the case of SOS or other emergency needs. And then there are also case of lawful interception. So this is actually used by the police to intercept communication for lawful intention. And then the last challenges that might come is fixed mobile convergence. So this is needed to merge the fixed systems or our home telephone with mobile communication. Okay, so those are the challenges. Thank you very much for listening. I hope if you feel that this video helps you, you can drop a like, or if you have some any concerns, please feel free to drop the comment to drop your thought in the comment section below. Okay, thank you very much.